I'm Barb Bideman.
And I'm Rick Bideman.
And we're here to talk about middle school. Actually, homeschooling middle school. So, we are going to put together a couple of videos about homeschooling middle school because someone had asked us to do that. We've been doing meetings in our home for our support group and people who are interested in homeschooling for many years. And over the years, quite a few people have asked for some form of podcast or video or recording of some of the things that we've done. And so we finally decided to give that a try. So this is our attempt to share some of the information that we've shared previously in meetings about homeschooling middle school. We want to call this Homeschool Team Talk because we consider ourselves a team. We homeschool together, and we also consider ourselves part of the larger homeschooling team, and you're a part of that as well. So, what we would like to do is to cover a few points related to middle school in each video. We don't want the videos to be too long, so we're going to try to break things up a little bit, make it a little bit easier for people to watch these. And we want to start out by talking about middle school and what middle school is. Did you want to say anything about that?
Sure. So middle school is a time when a lot of the content that has gone over in a typical middle school tends to review what has been done during elementary school and maybe go into a little bit more depth. And so it's an opportunity as homeschoolers to do the same thing, or since you are doing individualized instruction, to move forward in areas where you don't think as much review is necessary. But that's an overall framework, and we're going to get into some specific points, and we're going to do 3 or 4 of them on each video. So the first topic for this video is developing independence in schoolwork. And so a good way to get started with this, if you haven't already, is to pick the subject that your student excels in or has the easiest time with and work towards getting them to do that independently. And then over time, more and more of the work that they do can become independent.
Yeah, that's right. Very good. And the goal really is that you would like them to hopefully become as independent as possible by the time they reach high school. So this is something that you can work on over the years of middle school, and then hopefully by the time you get to the high school years, you'll find that your student is fairly independent. We say that we'd like our children to be autodidactic, which means that they're able to teach themselves. So I also wanted to mention a few of the curricula that we've used in the past that's been helpful for middle school. So one of the things that we've used would be books from Critical Thinking Company. The Critical Thinking Company has a lot of interesting materials, at least they were interesting to our children, and they are a lot of times things that kids can work on their own. And so it might be something smaller, maybe a page that's about editing from editor-in-chief, that they can go through and find the errors and make the corrections and work on that, and they don't need to be overseen so much. And these books are really well designed with a great answer section in the back that does more than just give you the answer, but really explains how that answer is correct and why. And so that can be really helpful if a student is learning to work on something on their own. They can also understand if they couldn't find an answer or did something incorrectly, they can understand what they did and what they need to do to correct it the next time. So I like Critical Thinking Company. I also wanted to mention the great courses. So the great courses are videos, or they can be audio, courses that are taught by professors from different universities. And so this one is one that our son used in middle school. It's called Understanding the World's Greatest Structures. And it has 24 lectures that were done by a professor, and this was something that our son was able to do on his own. It was something he was interested in, so he was actually very motivated to do this. And we started out by getting this from the library. The library, in our area at least, has lots of these video lectures. And we had tried it out, and he really liked it and wanted to watch it over again. And we said at that point, maybe we should actually purchase it. These go on sale throughout the year, so we waited till it was on sale and then purchased it for him. And I think he's watched it at least 2 more times. When you consider there are 24 lectures that are 30 minutes each, that's a lot for a middle school student. So this would be another way that you could help them to work on that independence.
And you might find it interesting too. So the second area we want to talk about is character development. And this can be assessing the character of your student and developing specific areas. Some of the curriculum Barb's going to talk about might be more helpful in that way. There's also things you can do to help with general character development. One of the things that we've enjoyed doing as a family, benefited from, and has been helpful for character development is reading biographies. We've particularly done some ones that are of like missionaries, sometimes of famous people as well. One that I found personally useful recently is I went through God's Smuggler by Brother Andrew, which I think is a very challenging and inspirational biography.
Great. And so we've also used some books. One of the books that we've used is this Achieving True Success, How to Build Character as a Family. And in this book, there are lots of different character traits that you can work on. So this one is dependability, fulfilling what I consented to do, even if it means unexpected sacrifice. And the opposite is inconsistency. And then it goes on to give you more information about dependability. So if dependability is something that you've noticed that your child needs to work on, this would be a way that you could address that. And you could use this along with scripture if you wanted to, or you could go through and look at some of the suggestions that are here and work on implementing maybe one a week or something like that. Whatever is useful for your particular situation. But this is a nice way to have a lot of different character traits kind of at your fingertips to allow you to work on the things that you see as maybe being a weakness or just needing some extra attention. Middle school is a great time to work on character because you really do want your child to have strong character as they get older and as they're more independent in the things that they're doing in life. You want to know that you're sending them out with good character. The other book that I have is Young Peacemakers. And this is teaching students to respond to conflict God's way. So with this book, we worked on learning how to resolve conflict within our family or with other people that you might encounter. And again, this is another skill that's really quite useful, and middle school is a good time to work on that.
The third topic is increasing accountability. And by that we mean getting other people into the mix of who's going to oversee different parts of your children's education. So one very good person to get involved, if they're not already, is the father. So, and that can take different ways of doing it. I'm a software developer, and so I taught my kids how to program. Whatever your specific area of interest is, you can focus on that. You can also just be a general support in different areas, or you might work on an area that's outside of academics as well, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, and as we work on increasing accountability, it really does help to have some outside sources requiring that accountability, such as maybe a co-op class. Our younger son took an academic co-op class when he was in 8th grade that really helped him to develop his self-esteem. It helped him to see that he could do as well as his peers. That it also helped him to see that he enjoyed sharing learning with others, and it helped him to become more accountable because he felt very responsible to this teacher to do the things that she wanted him to do and to be prepared for class. And so that was good as well. You also want to make sure that your children are feeling accountable to you, that they're completing the assignments that you give them, and that they're just taking responsibility for their education, for the things that they need to accomplish on their own. And I also wanted to mention that as far as having outside teachers, Rick shared a little bit about what he did. My father came and actually taught history to our younger son when he was in middle school, and that was a really special time for them to develop their relationship together as well. And it also turned into them building a tree house together about a year later. And so those were really great times for him to learn from other people and also to develop a sense of accountability to others and realize how important that is, so that when he got to high school, he really did have a sense of accountability and was able to be very successful because that was something he had learned early on. So we want to thank you for taking the time to watch this first video.
And hopefully you'll come back and watch the second one.